I am so honored to be co-chairing the inaugural campaign with Dr. Beth Battinelli. And like many of you, cancer has directly impacted me in so many different ways. Professionally, I spent the majority of my career in medicines development, helping patients access life-saving cancer treatments. But personally is where cancer's made a deeper and more profound impact. You see, I come from a family of strong women. My mother was one of 6 sisters. There she is in the printed dress. And 11 years ago, my mom tragically died from undiagnosed colon cancer that was left untreated because of the financial toxicity from the cost of healthcare. 3 of her sisters, all PhD trained scientists, battled breast cancer, including my oldest aunt, who survived breast and colon cancer, only to succumb to glioblastoma. And these women were my role models. They taught me to dream big and achieve great things. And their hard personal cancer battles are why I volunteer with American Cancer Society, whose mission it is to lead the fight for a world without cancer. I couldn't help them, but I can help others. So I love how the society is attacking cancer from all angles. We are the comprehensive cancer charity. From intramural and extramural research, education on prevention, national clinical guidelines, to our hotline, our free lodging and transportation. We also do what's right by advocating on access and affordability of healthcare, health equity, and ensuring that we accelerate research by funding the NIH and the NCI. 5 years ago, ACS CAN, which is our Cancer Action Network, the Society's advocacy affiliate, launched the 1 Degree campaign, reminding lawmakers that we're all just 1 degree from cancer. That achieved the bold goal of increasing the NIH budget by $6 billion and the NCI budget by $1 billion. And today we continue to lobby for annual increases. Even now we're fighting against the president's fiscal year 2021 budget and are encouraged by the House Appropriations Spending Bill that outlines a $5.5 billion funding increase for NIH and $470 million boost for NCI. So we're working hard to keep the cancer research lights on and reignite research during this pandemic. Cancer hasn't stopped, and neither can we. But this campaign, Research Hers, is really unique and it's powerful because it similarly combines intellect, advocacy, and compassion to attack cancer in a completely different way by mobilizing women like you who breathe life into our communities and our companies, you lending your visibility and voice to shine a light on the inequities in scientific careers and show the way forward by influencing others to garner support for women-led research. You know, for our inaugural campaign, we set out to recruit 20 ambassadors, and I am astounded that now we are over 60 confirmed ambassadors and growing. I mean, we are well positioned to reach our goal of raising $100,000 to fund the best women-led science. And we all know, especially those of us who work in the life sciences industry, that for research to ultimately reach patients, we need collaborations across academia, health systems, industry, and government. We all play a role, which is why our ambassador network includes leaders from all of these sectors and shows that our unique innovation ecosystem here in New England really rallies around the power of women working together to save lives through research. And I think even more encouraging is how you as individual ambassadors are offering your time and talent in new ways. You know, this campaign really resonates with so many of you. You've asked to share your own journeys, swap best practice, mentor each other in addition to your fundraising. And so your generous and creative spirit and thinking is really going to help enrich the ambassador experience overall. And I hope you all enjoy this professional network that's coming together. It's truly astounding. So I want to thank each and every one of the ambassadors for doing what you can, where you are, with what you have to fight cancer. You know, women, we are not what's the matter. We matter. We know we matter. But what matters to us right now is creating an inclusive and equitable work environment. and it's fueling the next generation of women scientists. So you're already role models, and you are paving way by example. And we thank you for sharing your strength. And for those of you who are considering joining Research Hers and who don't feel like you have a lot of time or money, please remember we can all do something. No one is too small to make a difference. And just consider doing whatever you can to help save lives through research. You are all warmly welcomed into this science sisterhood. So I like to say that hindsight's 2020. Women scientists have been tragically underfunded for decades. And in 2020, it's we women who are going to help turn that tide. But no one of us can do it alone. Many ripples will make that big wave. And the proverb of if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. We will do great things here in Eastern New England. I know it. And with deepest gratitude, I welcome each of you to the inaugural 2020 American Cancer Society Research Hers Ambassador Program. I look forward to working with each and every one of you. And now let me hand it over to my wonderful co-chair, Dr. Beth Battinelli, to offer her words of welcome.
Thank you so much, Alice, and thanks for those amazing words. Thank you, Susanna, for being with us today for this very important cause to launch Research Hers here in the Eastern New England area. I am so excited to be co-chairing this inaugural year with Alice, and I really want to thank you, Alice, for sharing your personal aspects of why you are part of this important cause. I am so impressed with the commitment of this organization to research. And for me, this is both a personal and professional mission, and it is a true honor to be part of this organization. I would like to start by giving you some nuts and bolts on research funded by ACS. It is the largest private, not-for-profit cancer research funder in the United States. It has invested close to $5 billion in research since 1946. As part of preparation for this campaign, I had the opportunity to look back at a list of past awardees for ACS funding. And I can tell you it's some of the greatest names ever. It's unbelievable. But what is striking is the number of well-known leading scientists who got their start with ACS grant funding. This area includes in this area some of the most innovative cancer researchers at the top institutions in the New England area. Currently, there are 748 ACS grants funded labs in the US for a total of $418 million in investment. In the Eastern New England region, there are 96 grants for a total investment of $46 million. Currently, half of these grantees are women, demonstrating the commitment of this organization to funding and supporting our top women researchers. But there's still even more that we can do. Although impressively, ACS has funded 49 Nobel laureates, none of them are women. So we still have more to accomplish. One of the things that's unique about ACS funding is that it often funds women at the very early stages of their career. This is often a difficult time, as everyone on this call probably knows, as women try to juggle many, many needs. Young physician scientists are trying to protect precious time in the lab away from clinical responsibilities to dedicate themselves to generating preliminary data without which they can't write grants. Yet their department and hospital rely on them for care for patients and to provide inpatient coverage. Others who have just finished their PhD program are struggling to carve out time to work on their own independent projects to differentiate themselves from their PhD advisors and establish their independence. Often, these women work long days in the hospital or work in the lab completing experiments for others, only to return to the lab at night to generate data for their own work. All of this is done usually without any technical support, as they usually don't have the funds for the extra hands in the lab. They also may be juggling family needs, including young children and aging parents. As I look back at this, I think about my own time when I wrote my first ACS grant. I am now currently an ACS funder, and my lab has received ACS funding for the last 3 years. When I was writing my grant, my kids were on spring break, and all of their friends were at home or doing fun things or were out on vacation, and they weren't. They were bored. we were spending our days in the hospital where my dad was being treated for end-stage heart failure. He was in his last days of life, and we were all there with him, all of us at his bedside. I sat on my dad's edge of the bed, my computer in hand, writing my ACS grant and answering pages and emails from patients. Every day as I would leave the hospital, my dad would say, "Did you make any headway on that grant of yours today?" Somehow we all managed to get through that time. And I tell you this personal story as evidence of how critical this type of funding can be to jumpstarting a woman's career at a pivotal point when research, clinical responsibilities, and family are all vying for a young woman's attention. And that was certainly the case with me and continues to be. So hopefully, as I continue to grow my lab, funding hopefully comes my way, but my ACS grant will always be the one that is the most special and was the most challenging one of my career. Another reason that I am so excited about the Research Hers campaign is because I see this unbelievable network opportunity that it is creating. Together, as ambassadors, we are not only have the chance to raise funds for research, but we also have established a community of women scientists supporting and helping the next generation. I firmly believe that one of the greatest missions of this organization is mentorship and the networking that comes with it. I am sure many of us in this group can think about key mentors who helped propel our careers. For me, I have often felt like I have different mentors in different arenas. I have a clinical mentor, a research mentor, and even a working mom mentor. Together, we can provide resources for each of us and for those around us so that we can be better mentors and to help mentor each other. I am so very impressed with the breadth of scientific pursuit amongst our ambassadors. We together are attacking cancer clearly from every angle. This includes prevention, behavioral research, access to care issues, basic science discovery, and industry-sponsored drug development. I would encourage each one of you to develop your ambassador page to reflect your research interests and to tell your own story. Together, we can create a resource for our research community to support each other and create meaningful collaborations. I know that many of us who are on this call are being directly impacted by the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. I myself have firsthand knowledge of shutting down and now restarting my lab in the different phases, and I'm again trying to regain my footing as we get things back up and running. Many of us have been asked to step up and provide extra coverage in the clinical arena and to care for patients or switch the focus of our lab to provide care for COVID-related issues. We have seen how important it is to be able to reach out to each other, not just for lab supplies, but also for support as we face these challenges. Although it may seem like this is a hard time to fundraise, it's actually a very unique opportunity. Never before has research been at the forefront of our daily news. This is a crisis that has shown the world the importance of the well-conducted clinical trial and research, and how labs are in overdrive trying to find treatments and cures for this disease. Every day, research is highlighted on the front page of the newspapers and our daily news reports. Now is time to harness this momentum and to raise even more funds for science. Thank you for your commitment to Research Hers. It's a true honor to serve with Alice and the amazing ACS New England staff for this inaugural 2020 Research Hers Ambassador campaign. I hope to get to know each and every one of you, and through these events that are planned, but also hopefully through mentoring and collaborations in the future. Together, we are a not-so-secret society that hopefully will become the powerhouse behind the careers for future female scientists and maybe the next female Nobel laureate. So with this, I'll turn the program back over to Susanna.
All right, so what I wanted to say in the beginning, so a couple of really significant things was, first of all, thank you. Really grateful that you're all here, and I'm so amazed and impressed. And the reason is, I'm a scientist too. My name is Susanna Greer. I'm the director of clinical cancer research and immunotherapy at the American Cancer Society, and I'm a scientist as well. I think the slide came up that said thank you to our sponsors. I certainly want to reiterate that, and just want to share with you that your support is more critical now than ever. one of the things that I was asked to do was just to share with you a brief story about why I am so committed to this campaign and why it's personal to me. So it is personal because prior to joining the ACS as a staff member, I also ran a cancer research lab, was focused in breast cancer and colorectal cancer and understanding the immune responses to cancer. And I, as an opportunity, when I was a researcher, I trained graduate students and postdocs. 75% of those were women. And I'm really proud of that opportunity and all the things that these amazing women have gone on to do. And also, through mentoring them, I understand the challenges that they had as researchers. And when I was trying to think about what I wanted to share tonight, I was reminded of maybe the first year or two when I was an assistant professor. And I was a new mom, and unexpectedly a new mom. These things happen sometimes. And I was in a faculty group, so my department was 95% male at the time, and I was certainly the only mom. And so it was really hard to kind of learn at the wheel how to balance, as Beth said, all of the opportunities I had as a scientist and all the opportunities of being a new mom and having a family. And I would have really benefited from a program like Research Hers. I would have been grateful for the connections, for the mentorship, and just for the opportunity to not feel so alone in the things that I was going through. So thank you for sharing your expertise and your talents and your wisdom, because I really feel like no matter what our challenges are, we are absolutely not the first to have faced them. So that's what I wanted to share with you, just kind of a personal piece in the beginning. I'm sorry the sound was bad, but now I'm all set. So now we're going to move to our next speaker. I am thrilled to introduce Dr. Lecia Sequist. Dr. Sequist is Director of the Center for Innovation in Early Cancer Detection. She is the Landry Professor of Medicine at Harvard Medical School. And Dr. Sequist will be sharing her thoughts with us on the American Cancer Society support at women at MGH. Lecia, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Good. All right. I also put on my Britney Spears headphone when I saw that you did, Susanna. So I'm so impressed with this effort, and thank you all, everyone who was involved in putting Research Hers together. What an amazing effort. This is so needed, and I think I'm here today speaking on behalf of the MGH Cancer Center, but I see many of my colleagues on the phone. I see Dr. Worth and Dr. Commander and Dr. Traeger, and I'm sorry if I missed anyone else from MGH, but we, what's really wonderful and sustaining to me in my career is the group of women researchers, cancer researchers that we have at our center. And I'm sure all of you have your own tribes around you, and there can never be enough groups like this. So to have this ACS group helping support women's careers in science is just amazing. And I know MGH is so happy to be a supporter and be part of it. You know, as I think the prior speakers have really outlined, while medicine itself is becoming fairly mixed as far as gender goes, academic medicine and the research world is really still very male dominated. For example, if you look at the Harvard Medical School faculty, the gender balance in the instructor level, which is the entry level for faculty, is about 50-50. But when you look at the professor level, it's about 80% male, 20% women. So, you know, this is really, in one statistic, tells the story of women in academic medicine, that we start off strong and we don't always have the ability to make it as far as we want. And there's many factors, but certainly one big factor is lack of support, lack of funding, lack of sponsorship and mentorship. And so efforts like this that can improve those opportunities for a community, for mentorship and sponsorship, and for financial support are so necessary. And I would say even more so now that we're all living in this post-COVID world, what I've seen certainly in my small circles is that this has hit women researchers especially hard. The lack of available childcare right now is just extremely detrimental to women trying to balance a research career and family obligations. But I think, one thing that I wanted to say as well is that it's amazing how much just hearing that other people are having the same struggles that you are having can be helpful as you're starting in your career. I meet with a lot of women across different settings and try and just be a listening ear and hear about their struggles and maybe offer them some advice, but also just some encouragement that I was in your shoes too. And I'm struck by how many times people are surprised at that because they really thought they were the only ones that struggled with whatever it is they're struggling with, that everyone else who came before them had done it totally perfectly, but that they are struggling. And, I think that is really emblematic of some of the things that we can together as a group change for, especially for young women starting their career in science, is just to acknowledge that the struggles they're going through are real, they're not made up, and they're not a personal flaw of that person. And, for people in more senior positions to really knock down some of those boundaries that exist for younger women is important. So yeah, I know I only had a few minutes. Those were kind of the main points that I wanted to make. Thank you so much for being involved with this effort. I'm so impressed with all of you. And thank you for giving me a chance to say hello.
Great. Thank you so much, Lisa. That was fantastic. And certainly much of what you resonated, shared with all of us. So thank you. I'm going to turn things over now to my colleague, Cassie Hennessy. Cassie is Director of Community Development at the American Cancer Society, and she will help us to understand how we get ready, set, and go. So what are our next steps and what should we expect?
Thank you, Susanna. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us tonight and for joining us in this incredible movement that we're doing here in Eastern New England and across the country, really. So we're really excited to have you on board. So I'm going to share my screen with you right now to kind of walk you through the website. If I've connected with you prior to this one-on-one, this might be the same information that we reviewed together. So it will be a little refresher. And then if I haven't connected with you, please feel free to reach out to me with any specific questions or to chat further with you about this. So first step, if you haven't already, please register on this website. So it's acsresearchers.org/Eastern New England. And this is what the homepage looks like. So if you scroll, it's kind of confusing. So if you have to scroll all the way past all of our announcements, past our already amazing ambassadors who are fundraising, past our sponsors. Keep going down to the bottom right here. You can see Activate. If you click that, then that will bring you to the registration page. If you have a society account already, meaning you've participated in an ACS event before, you would use the same account password and email address, and then that'll bring up your prior information. If you haven't already, then you can create a new one and get going. So once you sign up, it'll click the Activate button, it'll walk you through all the rest of the steps. Once you are registered, you will be given a customizable dashboard. So this is what your dashboard looks like. So minimize these. So this is what your dashboard looks like. So the dashboard is an awesome resource that we have available to us. So every person who's registered will have their own customizable fundraising platform. this is where you can customize. So this is mine. You can customize your own photo. You can add pictures if you would like by clicking this little pencil. You can also edit the story of why you're supporting the American Cancer Society and specifically the Researchers Campaign. So you can edit it to be your connection to cancer, your connection or interest in supporting women-led research, or if you just couldn't say no to Alice or Beth, you can add that in there too. So this is where you would edit that. If you go down, this also shows you what the donations, any donors that you have currently, what they donated. And you can also, if they donate directly on this page, you can mark if you sent them a thank you note to make sure that you're keeping track. If they're not showing up here, that means that they donated through your Facebook fundraiser, which I'll get to in a second. So another awesome thing about this dashboard is you can send customizable emails through here directly. So if you click on this, ask for donations, an email template will pop up and there could be preloaded emails already written for you. You can of course edit them however you'd like, or even write your own emails. You upload your contact list and they are put right in there and you can send them out that way. You also can send general thank you notes to all of your donors that way. They're already pre-written for you to make it really easy. Then I highly recommend, so another thing you should do in your dashboard would be to connect it to your Facebook fundraiser. I'm sure most of you, if you are on Facebook, you've seen people fundraising for their own charities or nonprofits. So if you connect your Facebook page through your dashboard, you'll be given your own fundraising platform on Facebook. It'll pull your story and it'll also, here it is. It'll pull your story that you updated on your dashboard as well as your photo and really just make it an easy place to share on social media, and people can donate directly there, which will then link to your fundraising profile here. Definitely be sure to connect it through your dashboard first. That way the donations coming into your Facebook fundraiser will be reflected on your profile. So that's kind of the gist of your dashboard. I'm going to go back to the front of the website. So again, this website is kind of where everything that you could possibly need to know for our campaign will be living. So right here in these event announcements, this has a few key points that I want to just point out. So the first thing would be the fundraising app. So I highly recommend downloading this app. It's very user-friendly. You can accept credit card donations as well as check donations on here. The app also allows you to send customizable text messages to all your contact lists with a link directly to your fundraising page. It also connects to your Facebook page, so you can also update your Facebook event that way in fundraising. And it has been proven that, or statistics say that you raise 7 times more money when you use Facebook fundraising. So I highly recommend connecting that and using the app because it's really easy. Also on the app, you can connect directly to LinkedIn, share posts. So just as another little tool that you can use. Also in our announcement sections, we'll always put new updated information here on how any of our new virtual events that we have coming up. We're hoping to plan 1 to 2 events every month virtually for everybody to get together around different topics. So they're all optional. So if you're interested in joining that month, great. If you can't because your schedule won't allow it, it's okay. We'll hopefully be able to record them and send them out to everybody afterwards. Those dates will always be on here, but they also will be given to you in the bi-weekly communication that we send out later this week. We'll be starting those. Let's see. Also on this website, so you'll see all the fundraisers. You scroll all the way down again, you will see this ambassador toolkit. So within the toolkit, there are so many other resources also for you. There's social media blurbs that you can copy and paste if you're looking for more content to post on your own pages to kind of promote and share your story. We also have on there some more talking points about the campaign and about where the money is going. So if you're getting a lot of questions or you're stuck, definitely check there, or you can always reach out to me too. The last piece in the toolkit that I wanted to share, which is another great resource, we have, there's a national Facebook group for all ambassadors. So if you're interested in joining that and connecting with people across the country, or sharing what you're doing, or just seeing what others are up to, please feel free to join that. We will be planning to create our own LinkedIn group later on. So that will be to come in one of the newsletters that Alice and Beth will be sending out bi-weekly, for just our area ambassadors, for us to be able to network a little bit more together and share ideas. Yeah, so I think the other couple things I wanted to quickly mention were other fun ways that you can fundraise. We do have a couple people, ambassadors, who have mentioned that they are from the same company, so they're going to team up together. So their goal collectively will be $5,000 that they're trying to raise, and they're going to see if they can get their coworkers on board to support them, do a little friendly competitions, and so that's something fun that you can do, or reach out to other people within your own organization. So that's another fun way, as well as matching gifts. Matching gifts are a great way for you to boost your fundraising, whether your company does a full-on match for what you fundraised, or if they do how much you give, they can match that sometimes, or even if your friends and family who are donating to you, if their company does a matching gift for them, just another easy way to double check to get some more funds coming in for your fundraising goal. To wrap it up, I think the most important takeaways for me tonight are to register online if you haven't already. Keep an eye out for the next opportunity that we're going to be having together, which will be Marketing the Mission on August 17th. And look out for those bi-weekly newsletters coming later this week. And the first one that we'll have will be the LinkedIn group that I mentioned, as well as a survey that we're hoping that you guys could all take, so that if you're interested or able to be promoted in the media, our communications director, Teresa Freeman, is looking to share all of anyone who's available or interested in having them spotlighted in the media. So keep an eye out for that newsletter coming. And I guess start fundraising and bringing incredible awareness to this incredible movement that you guys are all part of. And as always, I'm always available for support or answering any questions that you guys may have. So please don't ever hesitate to reach out to me, whether it's a brainstorming session or quick questions about the website or the app or anything. So yeah, I'm always available and happy to help.
Thank you, Cassie. What awesome information. I'm so excited and impressed. So we have time now for a Q&A. We've had a few questions already submitted, but I encourage you to please put your questions in the chat. Cassie's going to help me monitor that, but we'll start off with a few that have already come in. So Alice, I'd like to, I'm going to pose this first question to you. We've had a participant ask, is it too late for me to recruit my friends and colleagues to be ambassadors? And then a second part to that, what kinds of people are you looking for? And maybe an idea of a general time commitment.
Yeah, thanks, Susanna. Can everyone hear me okay? Just wanting to, okay, good. So I'm so glad you asked, because while we're in our inaugural year and it feels like there's a lot of formality around it, it is absolutely not too late to keep recruiting ambassadors for our campaign, which is going to run until the end of 2020. In fact, we were hoping that this initial group of Research Hers ambassadors would help us recruit, because you're so well connected, and even just looking at the names and the faces on this Zoom call, I know that it just gives me such a lift. And you know, many of you received a direct invitation from Beth or me. That personal outreach goes so far. So please do share this opportunity with the feminist philanthropists in your network who are passionate about fighting cancer, gender equity, women in science. There's so much here for people to get excited about. And, you know, keep in mind that this is not limited to cancer researchers. Of course, we're fueling the best and brightest women-led research, but attacking cancer means ACS is doing research across the entire supply chain, value chain, whatever you want to call it. And so we want diversity in our Research Hers ambassador network. We want people who are coming at this with different networks and different perspectives. And, you know, for me, it's really awesome to, you know, imagine that I'm connected to people with completely different jobs and occupations at companies I know nothing about, but we share this passion for fighting cancer. So, you know, what are we looking for? We're looking for thought leaders and heart leaders, you know, people who are communicators, creatives, networkers who can tell your story and the broader women-led research story of attacking cancer from all angles. For those of you who are already in positions of influence, you know, you can share your strength and your visibility. But we also welcome women who are on a journey, who are the rising stars, and they're looking to grow professionally and personally from this experience. We just ask that you are authentic, you are impact oriented, you're willing to share your time and talent. You know, at the most basic level, once you've set up your website with Cassie, it could be as easy as an hour a month, you know, of just checking social media. For those of you who are as excited as I am about this professional network coming together, maybe you want to actually be part of some of the planning for the events. Maybe you want to do some media opportunities. And there you really will be part of that founders network of building this foundation for the future. So please nominate additional ambassadors. Spread word of this program within your own organizations and your communities. And then we absolutely, Beth and I, welcome your ideas and your volunteerism so that this is an awesome experience for you and for everyone involved.
Great, thank you, Alice. I'm going to ask one more question to Beth, and then we'll move to the chat. So this one came in a little earlier. This is a question around mentorship, which I think is a real core component of the Research Hers campaign. How important have you found networking and mentoring in your own career?
Well, that's, you know, I think that that is actually the key to a lot of us for success. First of all, thanks for that question. So I can tell you that I have personally had mentors, both male and female mentors, at every stage of my career. And I can think back even to when I was in high school and trying to do science fair projects for my high school science club. And I remember I had this most amazing mentor. My mom drove me every day from Somerville to Wellesley College to work on plant molecular biology in the lab of Anne Hirsch. And she took me under her wing. And I don't know, I just walked in cold one day and said, I really like what you do. I read your article and I want to work with you. And every day after school, after this 45-minute drive, she would stay late night after night and work with me and teach me how to run gels and do all this like stuff in the lab and isolate DNA. And I could never thank her enough for that. And, you know, she took that time to look at this little high school kid and really mentor me through 4 years of high school. I still write a Christmas card to her every single year and we're still in touch, and I'm old now. So, you know, so the mentorship is key. I did not grow up in a house with scientists. And so if it wasn't for reaching out to people like that and having people reach out back to me, I would never be here today. So that continued at every stage in college, and then also, of course, in med school, and, you know, in fellowship. At every stage, having mentors is really important. And the key to mentorship is actually finding mentors who, you know, these mentors are like big people who have lots of things going on in their lives, right? They have people that they mentor from various, you know, different aspects of people's careers, and they also have clinical responsibilities or labs that they're running. They have a lot of responsibility. But if they can put aside what they need to accomplish and make sure that their mentoring is for your best interests and not their best interests, then to me, that's a great mentor. And so I've had moments where I've had my mentors have to make decisions that are what's the best thing to tell me for my career and not what's the best for their division or for their institution. And that's how I know that they are really thinking about what's best for me. And I really value those type of mentors. I also think that, you know, when you just see somebody who's doing things the way you like to do them, like I have a colleague who's about 5 years older than me, has kids that are a little bit older than me, and I see her in the middle of clinic on the phone taking calls from her kids who are in school and not supposed to be on the phone. I am always just like, that's what I want to be like. That's what I want my high school kids to be like, able to reach me and call me in lunch break, hopefully for them and not in their class. And so finding those kind of mentors, that people you want to model, is really important in every aspect of career success. I actually look out at this group and I see so many amazing women coming from so many different backgrounds who have so much to offer each other. And I'm telling you that if this turns into a group where, yes, we're fundraising and we're raising money for science, but we also become this network where I need to know how to isolate CTCs, circulating tumor cells, or I need to know how to do this or that. And I can look to this group and say, hey, is there somebody who can help me with that? That's mentorship, right? That's us forming our own network. And if you all have someone who's a young woman who's come up in your lab or in your, any aspect of what you're doing, who you say, oh, I think that Beth would be a good person for her to talk to, send her my way, right? Let's form a group together where we can network to help each other along and help those who we are mentoring to be a resource for them too. So that would be a successful organization to me. And I would be really thrilled if not only are we raising money, but we're also taking care of each other.
Thank you, Beth. That's wonderful. I often think about all the hands that pulled me up and then all the people behind me that I need to extend the hand to. And that's just part of it. So thank you. Cassie, are there questions in the chat box that you would like to help me distribute?
Yes, we have a few. So the first question is, donors have a lot of questions about how the dollars will be used. Do we have information about how the funds will be used and how researchers will be selected?
That's probably a question for me. So I'll first lead with, we have information that Cassie can share after the call on just kind of ACS peer review and all of that. That would be an entirely different webinar, which I would be happy to have with you. But I will say the American Cancer Society, I think, and I am of course incredibly biased because I'm a staff member, but I will precede that by saying that my very first grant came from the American Cancer Society. And while I was a researcher, I actually chaired one of our peer review committees. So I do have a lot of experience in ACS peer review from both sides. And I think that our peer review is bar none. I honestly think it's the best in the world. So the broad answer to the question is that researchers, all researchers, men and women, are selected through our world-renowned peer review. The reason that I think that it is the best in the world is that we ask a tremendous amount from our reviewers. They are really asked to be mentors for junior scientists. It takes on average, I would say, about 35 to 40 hours to review a single grant, and that's because of the pretty in-depth feedback that we ask our reviewers to give to applicants. So the ACS funds across the cancer continuum. We fund all areas of cancer research. The vast majority of what we do is investigator initiated. What I would really like to see is a sustained pipeline of outstanding female researchers who are applying for ACS grants, experiencing that mentorship through peer review, and then having those grants funded. But we can certainly provide more information on our website to kind of the exactness of that process. And if anybody has any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me for more details.
Thank you, Susanna. The next question is, what about males wanting to participate in this campaign? Can they be ambassadors, or how should they get involved?
See, I think I'll, Alice, would you like to take that?
Sure. Of course, we want to be an inclusive community. And I think to Beth's point about taking care of each other, there are ways that we can mentor across disciplines and sectors as well. Perhaps some of our colleagues who are in business or in advocacy can, support some of our scientific colleagues who may be interested in learning about some of those skills or what other organizations do in terms of our programs and best practices. And I think in the case of our male allies, just like with any social justice equality movement, we need people who are in positions of strength and power to believe in the mission and to be sponsors and to be advocates. And so I will, I think, make a co-chair executive decision, Beth, that if there are, champions, then we would absolutely love for them to lead their gender by example and be ambassadors. Of course, the programming may not be customized to them, especially from a professional development standpoint, but we are looking for anyone who is passionate about gender equity and female empowerment and research and fighting cancer. And so if Research Hers is a way to get them involved, wonderful. If not, then we found yet another ambassador for fighting cancer in different ways who can be a champion and we'd love to have a conversation with them about how they can plug in. So thank you for thinking creatively about that. That's exactly the type of bold thinking that we need for this campaign.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Thank-
Alice.
I just wanted to quickly also just jump in on that one too. So if they, if there are males that are interested in getting involved too, like maybe they would be able to provide a name for somebody in their company or in their life that would be interested in being a good ambassador for this program as well. So they can get involved in not being an ambassador, as Alice was saying, but also in other ways too. So maybe having a speaking opportunity at one of our virtual events, if that would be a better fit for them, or getting their company involved in some other way. So we can always find, if there is the right leader in the position that would like to get involved with our campaign, we would love to be able to work with them and chat through what the best would be. Thank you.
Thank you, Cassie.
The next question that we had was, how does my company get involved?
So Cassie, this may be a good question for you, and we'll probably, if it's okay, I don't want to keep anyone past time. We'll let this be our last question, but if you have more questions, please send them our way. We will follow up. Absolutely. Cassie?
Yes. So I mentioned the matching gifts piece earlier when I was talking about the next steps. So that's definitely a way that companies can get involved. Another way is our wonderful sponsorship opportunities that we have. So we have a pretty intense booklet that has lists of all the different benefits that are available to companies that are interested in sponsoring. So if you as an ambassador would like to connect us to somebody within your company, we're happy to have that conversation with them to find out what they're interested in and how they'd like to be recognized and get them set up with the appropriate benefits. We've been lucky so far, and we've had some amazing sponsors sign on, but we're always looking for more. So if anybody has a connection or has any ideas for something that would be able to be a part of this campaign this year, we'd be happy to have those conversations with you and for you.
Thank you, Cassie, and thank you so much, everyone. I do want to apologize for the technological difficulties we had in the beginning, but we are women. We got this. We can overcome those kinds of problems. So to close us out today, I'm just so invigorated and excited. The ACS is a top supporter of women in science, and I think we're all really proud of that. We've said a couple of times today that about half of our ACS grantees are women, and most of them are in their early careers. One thing we haven't mentioned, which I think is important, is that the ACS research program, the reason it got off the ground at all was because of a woman. So ACS volunteer Mary Lasker helped raise the first $1 million to establish and fund the ACS's groundbreaking research program to find more and better treatments and to uncover factors that may cause cancer and improve cancer patients' way of life. So I love thinking about that kind of in the context of the Research Hers campaign, because since the beginning, the American Cancer Society has led the way, and it is the women of the ACS who have led the way. And I think with your help, that's ensuring that we continue to do so. So as we close, and we've mentioned this a couple of times today, but I think it's worth reiterating that your support is so critical right now. We really are grateful. During the pandemic, we all know that women have found themselves, I think, in what can be considered only as a really challenging position, no matter what our profession. But of course, it especially hits home with me for women in science, because there was some good news, a lot of good news. Over the past 2 decades, women have achieved some pretty remarkable gains in equalizing the standing, I would say, of women in science. One example I could give you is the number of women who are lead authors on research papers and recipients of major research grants like those from the American Cancer Society are growing, as are the numbers of women who are in the senior ranks of the professiate and leading in academic positions. All of that is on the rise. Now, there's still a lot of progress to be made, but the beginning of 2020 really saw us all having great hope for this decade. However, the pandemic has really abruptly made some changes in the lives of women scientists. Research laboratories have been closed. Working from home has become the new normal for scientists. And just over the past few days, I've seen some really startling posts shared on social media by journal editors, which is showing that across the board, the number of papers that are submitted by female scientists has dropped significantly during the past 3 months. And as we've discussed on this call, it's clear that the majority of childcare burden has fallen on female heads of households. And another thing that's kind of come to my attention is that summer, which is typically one of the most productive seasons for scientists of both sexes, has effectively been canceled for many women in science. So my concern is that the professional slide for women in science has started to emerge. And I think that these adverse effects on women scientists' productivity, these fewer papers and grants, could have long-lasting and wide-ranging consequences. So how we address this issue right now is really going to determine the professional futures of women in science for decades to come. I think there's a positive piece to this, and that is that we have a unique opportunity to help sustain the pipeline of talent, women talent in science, and to engage those in the field, like all of you, who can really impact the number of women in leadership roles. Beth reminded us of the roles that the ACS has played in supporting Nobel laureates. So this is a quote that I love from Marie Curie. She said, "I was taught that the way of progress was neither swift nor easy." And we all know Dr. Curie was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize, the only woman in history to win it twice, and the only human to ever win a Nobel Prize in 2 different sciences. I never count women out. And I certainly think that there is a tremendous opportunity for us to add female Nobel laureates to those ACS funded research professors. So as we conclude today's webcast, I want to thank Alice and Beth and Leisha for joining us today. And I also want to extend our appreciation to all of you who were there to tune in and for your commitment to raise at least $2,500 in support of women-led research. I hope that your involvement in this campaign is fun and meaningful in ways that we probably can't even speculate right now. You are joining so many other ambassadors from across the country and truly in this surge of energy to sustain the investment in female investigators and also to shine a spotlight on the important contributions of women in science. So for all of you who are joining us today, both panelists and ambassadors, please know your support means so much to so many, and thank you all. I hope you'll all be safe and well.